Welcome to the Folktale Project. This is Dan Scholz. Today we have part 2 of our story of the Bronze Ring from the Blue Fairy book collected by Andrew Lang. We left off with, the minister's son and the gardener's son both headed off to a faraway country to prove their love for the princess. And, as they went off, they've come across an old woman in rags sitting upon a stone beside a fountain. A very classic test in folklore, and we'll see how the boys do. This is part 2 of the Bronze Ring. "Good day to you, young traveler," said she, but the minister's son made no reply. "Have pity upon me, traveler," she said again. "I am dying of hunger, as you see, and 3 days have I been here, and no one has given me anything." "Leave me alone, witch," cried the young man. "I can do nothing for you." And so saying, he went on his way. That same evening the gardener's son rode up to the fountain upon his lame gray horse. "Good day to you, young traveler," said the beggar woman. "Good day, good woman," answered he. "Young traveler, have pity upon me." "Take my purse, good woman," said he, "and mount behind me, for your legs can't be very strong." The old woman didn't wait to be asked twice, but mounted behind him, and in this style they reached the chief city of a powerful kingdom. The minister's son was lodged in a grand inn. The gardener's son and the old woman dismounted at the inn for beggars. The next day the gardener's son heard a great noise in the street, and the king's heralds passed, blowing all kinds of instruments and crying, "Our king, our master, is old and infirm. He will give a great reward to whoever will cure him and give him back the strength of his youth." Then the old beggar woman said to her benefactor, "This is what you must do to obtain the reward which the king promises. Go out of the town by the south gate, and there you will find 3 little dogs of different colors. The first will be white, the second black, the third red. You must kill them and burn them separately and gather up the ashes. Put the ashes of each dog in a bag of its own color, and then go before the door of the palace and cry out, 'A celebrated physician has come from Janina in Albania. He alone can cure the king and give him back the strength of his youth.' The king's physicians will say this is an impostor and not a learned man, and they will make all sorts of difficulties, but you will overcome them all at last, and you will present yourself before the sick king. You must then demand as much wood as 3 mules can carry and a great cauldron, and you must shut yourself up in a room with the sultan, and when the cauldron boils, you must throw him into it, and there leave him until his flesh is completely separated from his bones. Then arrange the bones in their proper places and throw them over the ashes of the 3 bags. The king will come back to life and will be just as he was when he was 20 years old. For your reward you must demand the bronze ring which has the power to grant you everything you desire. Go, my son, and do not forget any of my instructions." The young man followed the old beggar woman's directions. On going out of the town he found the white, red, and black dogs and killed and burnt them, gathering the ashes in 3 bags. Then he ran to the palace and cried, "A celebrated physician has come from Janina in Albania. He alone can cure the king and give him back the strength of his youth." The king's physicians at first laughed at the unknown wayfarer, but the sultan ordered that the stranger should be admitted. They brought the cauldron and the loads of wood, and very soon the king was boiling away. Toward midday, the gardener's son arranged the bones in their places, and he had hardly scattered the ashes over them before the old king revived, to find himself once more young and hardy. "How can I reward you, my benefactor?" he cried. "Will you take half my treasures?" "No," said the gardener's son. "My daughter's hand?" "No." "Take half my kingdom?" "No." "Give me only the bronze ring, which can instantly grant me anything I wish for." "Oh, alas," said the king, "I set great store by that marvelous ring. None the less, you shall have it." And he gave it to him. The gardener's son went back to say good-bye to the old beggar woman. Then he said to the bronze ring, "Prepare a splendid ship in which I may continue my journey. Let the hull be of fine gold, the masts of silver, the sails of brocade. Let the crew consist of 12 young men of noble appearance dressed like kings. St. Nicholas will be at the helm. As to the cargo, Let it be diamonds, rubies, emeralds, and carbuncles." And immediately a ship appeared upon the sea which resembled in every particular the description given by the gardener's son, and stepping on board he continued his journey. Presently he arrived at a great town and established himself in a wonderful palace. After several days he met his rival, the minister's son, who had spent all his money and was reduced to the disagreeable employment of a carrier of dust and rubbish. The gardener's son said to him, "What is your name, what is your family, and from what country do you come?" "I am the son of the prime minister of a great nation, and yet see what a degrading occupation I am reduced to. Listen to me. Though I don't know anything more about you, I am willing to help you. I will give you a ship that will take you back to your own country upon one condition. Whatever it may be, I accept it willingly. Follow me to my palace." The minister's son followed the rich stranger whom he had not recognized. When they reached the palace, the gardener's son made a sign to his slaves, who completely undressed the newcomer. "Make this ring red hot," commanded the minister, "and mark the man with it upon his back." The slaves obeyed him. "Now, young man," said the rich stranger, "I am going to give you a vessel which will take you back to your own country." And going out, he took the bronze ring and said, "Bronze ring, obey thy master. Prepare me a ship which is of the half-rotten timbers shall be painted black. Let the sails be in rags, and the sailors infirm and sickly. One shall have lost a leg, another an arm, the third shall be a hunchback, another lame or club-footed or blind, and most of them shall be ugly and covered with scars. Go, and let my orders be executed." The minister's son embarked in this old vessel, and thanks to favorable winds at length reached his own country. In spite of the pitiable condition in which he returned, they received him joyfully. "I am the first to come back," he said to the king. "Now fulfill your promise and give me the princess in marriage." So they at once began to prepare for the wedding festivities. As to the poor princess, she was sorrowful and angry enough about it. The next morning at daybreak a wonderful ship with every sail set came to anchor before the town. The king happened at that moment to be at the palace window. "What strange ship is this," he cried, "that has a golden hull, silver masts, and silken sails, and who are the young men like princes who man it? And do I not see Saint Nicholas at the helm? Go at once, invite the captain of the ship to come to the palace." His servants obeyed him, and very soon in came an enchantingly handsome young prince dressed in rich silk, ornamented with pearls and diamonds. "Young man," said the king, "you are welcome whoever you may be. Do me the favor to be my guest as long as you remain in my capital." "Many thanks, sire," replied the captain. "I accept your offer." "My daughter is to be married," said the king. "Will you give her away?" "I shall be charmed, sire." Soon after came the princess and her betrothed. "But why, how is this?" cried the young man. "Would you marry this charming princess to such a man as that?" "But he is my prime minister's son." "What does that matter? I cannot give your daughter away. The man she is betrothed to is one of my servants." "Your servant?" "Without doubt. I met him in a distant town, reduced to carrying away dust and rubbish from the houses. I had pity on him and engaged him as one of my servants." "It is impossible!" cried the king. "Do you wish me to prove what I say? This young man returned in a vessel which I fitted out for him, an unseaworthy ship with a black battered hull, and the sailors were infirm and crippled." "It is quite true," said the king. "It is false," cried the minister's son. "I do not know this man." "Sire," said the young captain, "order your daughter's betrothed to be stripped, and see if the mark of my ring is not branded upon his back." The king was about to give this order, when the minister's son, to save himself from such an indignity, admitted that the story was true. "And now, sire," said the young captain, "do you not recognize me?" "I recognize you," said the princess. "You are the gardener's son, whom I have always loved, and it is you I wish to marry." "Young man, you shall be my son-in-law," cried the king. "The marriage festivities are already begun, so you shall marry my daughter this very day." And so, that very day, the gardener's son married the beautiful princess. And that is part 2 of the Bronze Ring, and it would be a lovely place for this story to end, but we still have more to share tomorrow and, in fact, next week. And so, the story of the bronze ring is clearly going to take a turn. This is Dan Scholz for the Folktale Project. Don't forget that you can subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Play, Overcast, anywhere you like to get your podcasts. You can follow us on Twitter at Folktale Project. You can find us on Auto Radio, TuneIn Radio, iHeartRadio, Spotify, anywhere you like to listen. And you can always head over to folktaleproject.com. We'll find a new story waiting for you every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. As always, thank you so much for listening.